Hi, I'm Hal Kurfehs. I'm Executive Vice President of Scalzo Commercial and New Development. And I have a guest today. His name is Tom Hill. He's an old friend. I've known him for many, many years. And he is in the brokerage business as well. He has Tom Hill Realty and Investments out of Waterbury, which is a nearby market. And Tom has CCIM and SIOR designations, which are really unusual in this business. I only think that I know a few people. You have another one?
I have two. No, continue, Hal.
Anyway, I know very, very few people that have both designations, and they're good ones. And I'm going to let Tom talk, see what you can learn from Tom. Just tell me about yourself, Tom, what your hopes, aspirations, whatever are.
Ooh, win lotto for another vacation home.
You know, whatever.
Hopes and aspirations, Hal.
Just talk. You have
Okay.
a minute.
Thank you. I'm a dual designee, as Hal said. My coach says I'm an elite broker. I'm an aging triathlete, still at the back of the pack, but out there doing it. I'm broker owner of Tom Hill Realty and Investment over in Waterbury. Some people call it Sin City. And my websites are tomhill.com, and my media website is tomhillradio.com, and people say that I'm an unabashed self-promoter.
Oh, no. But you're so true. My background is a little different than yours. How long have you been in the business for?
40 years now, Harold, and I've known you just about my whole 40 years.
Yeah, not quite. But my background is a bit different. After I got my MBA from Wharton, I started in the advertising business.
Donald Trump went there. You're a smart
Yeah,
guy.
I know.
Man.
Yeah, if he is very smart, so I like that connection at least. But I started in the advertising business in New York, Madison Avenue, and was in it for maybe about 10 years. Enjoyed it tremendously, but then I received an offer from the Ethan Allen Furniture Company.
Oh, yeah.
I was doing mainly large companies like in the advertising business, like General Foods and Procter & Gamble and stuff like that. Anyway, so I went with Ethan
Hal,
Allen.
stop banging the table. You're making me nervous.
Oh, sorry about that. I went with Ethan Allen and as director of advertising. And in time, I became director of advertising and public relations. I joined the board there. And everything was going well. And then I got an offer that I couldn't refuse. It was a British company, multinational company. They were out of, they were actually, North American operations were in Toronto. So I had to move from Connecticut because when I joined Ethan Allen, they were in New York. We moved to Connecticut the first time I
Hal, how long is this story going to take?
Just a second. Anyway, if you keep interrupting me, Dom. So anyway, I went up there and I was heading two divisions of the North American operations. There were 3 companies involved. Enjoyed that, but I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I came back to Connecticut, bought a company, a publishing company, publishing and book selling company of books that specialized in certain areas. And I grew that, added another one, I created another one, and that was in the 70s and 80s.
And you sold that off after?
Yeah, but that was in the 70s and 80s, and I always liked real estate.
Great background. Great background that you're describing for real estate.
So I always liked real estate. So I decided, hey, I'm going to get into this business. And I've been there for not 40 years, but not too far off. I started the advertising business in my mid-50s, okay? So.
What had you done before that?
What?
What had you done before your mid-50s?
I already mentioned all that stuff.
Yeah, but you said advertise. I thought that was your first big job. Okay,
well,
continue.
Advertising, there was a series of things, okay? So anyway, that.
Any jail time?
No, I missed that. I was too busy. Okay. So that's it. That's my background. We know yours. So the audience knows that we know something about real estate.
We do.
Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Especially commercial real estate.
Yeah, especially, of course. Of course, that's not quite true because I've been involved with development of multifamily lately, which is commercial real estate.
It's another segment.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're completely different business than residential single-family homes.
We're not going out there with the lady and his kids and stuff like that and showing homes. No, but we're developing them. We're building maybe hundreds of apartments or condos or
or how much
whatever.
land have you sold for single-family subdivisions in your career?
Right. So anyway, the reason for our talk today, Tom, is to talk about the economy. Where are we going? What's the business like? Is this business going into a good period, a problem period? And I think we'd like to present our thoughts, your thoughts and mine. So why don't you talk, where do you think this business is going in terms of, let's say, next 6 months to a year?
Hal, I've been in this business so long, and with my 2 designations, CCM and SIOR, I make money good times and bad times. And as a matter of fact, when I worked for a lawyer when I got started, who was a 400 millionaire at the time, he always said, geez, I wish there'd be a little downturn so I could buy something. And that always stuck with me. I make money good times or bad. And I think that people that are out there, I mean, you have to look ahead to what's happening. What are the interest rates? And some of you mentioned that in your list that you sent me. What are the interest rates? What does the economy look like? Are you looking at Fox Business or Bloomberg? Because if you're in business, you have to make your own inquiry to where the world is going. You have to have reserves. And I think this economy is up and down and all around and almost too hard to call.
You know, they've been talking about a recession for what, 3-4 years?
Yep.
Okay. And it never comes, all right? It slows down a little bit, but then speeds up again. So there's no recession. We had an inflation problem, but that recession has not happened. I don't see it anytime soon.
Well, do you think the Federal Reserve and the politicians have the economy better, I don't want to say rigged, but better structured so that we're a little bit more like this than up and down? Because they used to say we'd have a recession every 8 years.
I see good things happening. Okay, I see a lot of good things. We'll get into those, but I see a very, very good period ahead of us. Now, to your point, you've seen the ups and downs. What happens in a period of expansion is that some things get too expansionary.
Yes.
And they overbuild, okay?
Yep.
And so you have a letdown in that particular category, okay?
Well, overbuilding, do you think there's too much multifamily? You're looking at apartments are being built everywhere. What do you think about that as overbuilding?
You know, a number of years ago, a person we both know said, geez, I don't know if we have enough backsize to put into apartments or to condos. They were very cautious about where we're going to go with this thing, building too much. I haven't seen that happen. It's just been explosive. There are still 100,000 or more openings in terms of residential. You know,
although I hear that was it either Nashville or Miami, too much luxury, and they're offering a few months rent.
That's another thing. You know, retail or any kind of category is local. Okay,
True.
Pretty much.
Yep.
If you have a situation where there's certain parts of the country that are overbuilding, like the South and parts of the West, let's say in multifamily, what's going to happen is that the rent growth is going to start slowing down. They're starting to give free rent, okay, incentives to come in, and that might not affect the rest of the country. Our area is kind of like secondary to the big markets like New York, Chicago.
Yeah, Waterbury's a tertiary market.
Yeah, and Danbury is, I'm not sure if it's tertiary, but...
No, I think you're second tier here.
Yeah, secondary. So a lot of the building has gone on.
You're a lot more classy than Waterbury market, put it that way, in Danbury.
Well, a lot more building has gone on, and in those areas, not in our area as well. And so there is a lot of opportunity, okay? We haven't scratched the surface, in my opinion, in terms of this area. Well, I'm not talking about area, I'm talking about Connecticut, maybe the states nearby. Whatever.
And the multifamily segment.
Yeah, the multifamily segment. And that's, I have to caution though, when they say that there are 100,000 or more people that are looking for homes, or a place to live, living space. That a lot of that is in the lower tier. In other words, the people who need affordable housing. So there might be a cap in terms of luxury housing that we're getting near. I don't know, but I do know that there is still, you build something today, it's kind of full up within a short period of time.
But it's an 18-month build. And
Well, that's the other thing. Now we're getting into something we should get into later.
Forecasting. And on your housing for multifamily, you have affordable, mixed income, luxury, workforce housing. And in Waterbury, we have a smart mayor who was on my TV show the other night, Paul Pernaruski, and he engineered a deal for the city. And that may have been Mayor O'Leary, the pair of them. He engineered a deal where they bought 2 old big school buildings across from the St. Mary's Hospital, and they're got a developer to buy them at a little profit and turn them into about 100 units of workforce housing for St. Mary's Hospital. So I think that segment of multifamily, to your point exactly, there's a lot of different segments of it. And how do you tailor, if you're going to be a developer or an investor, tailor those to the absorption and the population you're talking about that can afford the rents?
Yeah, well, I again, bottom line though, I think that there is still plenty of opportunity, plenty of growth in that category.
I tend to agree. If you make the right investment and you're sharp with your feasibility.
It takes so long to get things approved. The whole process of getting permitting is so drawn out that you can't possibly build fast enough, okay?
Well, we hear that towns are going to streamline their permit process, and I know Waterbury...
They don't count on it.
Right, well, Waterbury did a long time ago and upgraded all their zoning to try to bring everything into compliance. And the reputation for Waterbury these days, let me finish, the reputation for Waterbury these days is you can get permits there if they like the project and they have a good team, and the economic development director is in the mayor's office and not afraid to give you a quick no, so you don't get your time wasted like other cities that'll jerk you around and make you spend $100,000 before they deny you.
There's an awful lot of talk about that kind of positive attitude in terms of building, but that's only what it is. It's talk.
Well, you're in it every day. You see it.
Yeah.
Because you mainly do development
I
deals.
mainly do development, and I enjoy development. It's a very, very great field, but it's very, very frustrating to have to spend so much time getting something to be able to be built with the approvals process, with the permitting process. It's very difficult. There's a lot of moving parts in development.
And how?
A lot of moving parts. And you can go on with a development, let's say it looks real good that it's going to happen, and you can be in a year into it, and all of a sudden, one of those moving parts doesn't help you in any way because it starts to hinder your development.
You asked me about the economy. One of them, because the economy could change.
Well, that's true.
In time, in a year and a half.
That's the interesting part of this business, by the way, Tom. I mean, you never know what's around the next corner. Okay.
Well,
but that's what makes it interesting.
But you become a better forecaster, Hal, and you are a good forecaster.
Well, but you can be a good Well, for instance, as far as forecasting is concerned, I like the way the economy is going right now. We had a portion of time early this year when the tariffs were coming into effect. Nobody knew what that was all about, okay? And it became an uncertainty item, okay?
True.
And when you have uncertainty, people just don't invest, okay? They hold it back. Also, interest rates could remain high because of the uncertainty, because they don't have all the numbers. They don't know what's going to happen.
Lack of confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Those things are coming together right now, and they're looking really good. Things are happening every day. And once that uncertainty slows down and becomes certainty, or at least near-term certainty, then what will happen is that money will stop piling into the business. I'm sure this is going to happen. I'm sure that's going to happen because we have interest rates that are declining in the process. Inflation is somewhat receding. It's only 3%. The mark is 2% they're trying to get, but that's not far off. We were 9%.
It's true.
And I want to remind you, one aside, when I had my business in the 70s and 80s, the inflation rate was in the double digits. I mean, you got a mortgage for a house, it was 15% to 20%.
Yep.
Okay? Not like it is now, but people were complaining about 7%. And it was ridiculous, okay?
Well, somehow we made it work.
We made it work, but, again, when they say, the economists say, oh, this is the worst inflation, they're talking about now, the inflation. This is the worst inflation we had in 20 years. Well, you go back 20, well, actually more than 20, 40 years, 50 years. And you go back to that time, that's when we had the double-digit inflation. So it really isn't all that bad. It's improving. We have a lot of things going in terms of these tariffs. They're working in the right direction.
Long term.
Long term, right? I mean, just this one last trip, they did a couple of new deals with Japan and Malaysia and countries like that. And China is on the agenda,
table.
and
It's supposed to talk Friday.
and it's going to happen with China, because they wouldn't talk about it happening before the case if they didn't know it was going to happen.
Hal, how do young rookies that are watching this show get to learn the things you know and the way you're explaining the economy?
Tom, everybody is different. Everybody's different. You're different than I am. We're good friends.
Yes, we are.
But you're different. You have a different set of experiences that are valuable to people who are talking to you. I have a valuable set of experiences that are valuable to people that are talking to me. And so everybody can contribute. The young guy coming up in this business can contribute because they have because people don't go into this business when they're right out of high school, okay?
That's
Generally.
Unless their parents had a shop.
Yeah, right. So it's something you gravitate and drift into.
Yes.
Okay. And so people have a lot of different experiences they can bring to the table. And
Yeah, I drifted into it when I was 33 from the car business accidentally by meeting my first broker who recruited me.
right, that's it. And I started in 55 when I was 55.
Yep.
I hate to tell you how many years I've been in the business because it'd tell you how old I am.
Oh, shocking. Quick.
But in any event, it keeps you vital. It keeps you on your toes. It's not the kind of job that you walk into and it's the same thing every day. It just goes on and on.
Are you a part-time drummer?
No. Well, I'm making a point.
All right, so what are you reading, though? Are you reading, watching television, listening to the radio? Where are you getting your latest information? Because you sound like you're tuned in.
I took a ton of economics courses in college.
Wharton.
And so, and I love the topic. I constantly keep up
But that's
on
old news. How about today? What are you looking at every day?
What am I looking at?
College, yeah. What are you looking, reading, the radio? How are you? Because you're tuned into the economy.
It's just any number of things. Your antenna are up, and the antenna are receptors, and whether it takes the television, the newspaper, the magazines, the webinars are really good today.
I'm going on one tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's for my SIOR conference ahead of time to tell you what's going to happen, which I'm looking forward to.
There's one called Walker and Dunlop.
Oh, you send that to me. I'm going to write it down again.
Oh,
Yep.
It is super. Walker and Dunlop.
And what's the future of print newspapers in your opinion?
It's all online. People don't get the newspaper anymore.
So do you read it? I love it in my hand, but do you look at it online?
I love it in my hand, but it's getting to be a pain, and I just as well enjoy it online.
Okay.
It's fine, and there's a lot of stuff I don't want to read. I mainly want to read stuff that is
pertains
inherently positive.
Yep.
That I can use.
Do you ever read for enjoyment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I read a book a month. I
Okay.
guess.
How about something you read lately that you could recommend?
There was a book. Oh, I can't. Who's the name of the author? There's a book called Evil, I'll give you the full title. It's by the guy that we used to be on Fox TV, and he's written 25 books or something like that. It's understanding.
The lawyer on Saturday and Sunday nights?
No. He's been on Fox for years, and he was kicked off basically. And it's not the latest guy; it's the guys previous to that.
I'm looking while you're talking.
And so he wrote this book. The series of books that he's written, I've written every one of them. They're always fascinating. It's Understanding Evil or something like that.
Yep.
And they have all the people in history that have...
Kent Anderson?
No.
Okay, we're trying,
all
folks.
the people in history that have been evil and caused millions of deaths. Not that I'm morbid or anything like that, but it's history, and you should know these things. Again, that's far from the subject of...
talk radio guy was just saying pure evil. Sometimes you can't pray your way out of it, and you're going to have to eliminate the evil where you can.
Absolutely. And every one of those people that showed that they were evil and they did bad things, Hitler, for instance, all the people that through history, starting with Genghis Khan and people like that, bad dudes. They caused a lot of consternation, a lot of unhappiness, a lot of misery for people, and they should be taken down. They should have a reckoning. I'm sure that they will, even after their death. But we're getting off track, Tom. So,
well, I just know, but we're on track too, because people don't just do business. We're going off now to people are people. The book I read lately for pleasure, because the evil thing.
Bill O'Reilly.
Oh yes, I wrote Killing Jesus by him. Best book I ever read.
Oh yeah, they're very good.
When I read it the second time, I didn't realize I read it the first time. That's how good it is. Yeah. And I have a new appreciation for Jesus and why he was killed, how he was killed, terrible. But for pleasure, that I asked the question is, recently on my book, this is 500 pages, New York bestseller, Barbarian Days, A Surfing Life by William Finnegan. And traveled all over the world chasing waves, however, was a gifted writer and hung around with other writers. And it just took me back, because I was a surfer in my younger days. So sometimes I need something to get off the stress of this business. And back to this business, this business of straight commission or consulting can become stressful.
My passion, we'll take a second or two to finish this part off, my passion has been history. I love history. From the day I was 5 years old, I started to love it. And so that's something I follow. Politics, yes, in terms of how things come together, how things improve or degenerate, whatever. That's interesting too, because if there's any way that I can change that in my small way, I'd like to, but I'd have to know what the problem is first, if you know what I mean.
I do. I love Hal. He's always interesting. We talk all the time, and I'm taking notes on some of the podcasts and Bill O'Reilly because I like his style, and I'll pick up some of his tips.
Again, his books, he has probably about 25 books now.
Yeah, Killing Reagan, Killing Lincoln.
The whole sequence of those.
Talented
but he
guy.
did some things before and after that are very good.
But he's human. He got in trouble on Fox and got moved out, so we're all human.
Well, he was outspoken.
That too.
When you're outspoken, you can get axed.
You get axed. Kata!
Right.
All right, so take control here and bring us back to the topics you want.
All right. So again, as far as the economy is concerned, I see interest rates coming down. Last year, they came down 100 basis points. This year, they'll probably come down 75 basis points.
So another quarter coming soon?
We've already had 25.
Yep.
And I expect that in... I guess it's
November,
October,
I think.
November and December, I think that we'll have 25.
Each?
Okay, each.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, if there's a 50 there, that's 100.
The president will be happy with that. And you, looking at politics, do you think he's having an effect on the Federal Reserve?
I'll tell you a little story regarding last year with the interest rate reductions. There were 100, okay? There was one top economist who incidentally was the a professor at Wharton.
Okay.
But he has his own private business as well.
Of course.
He said, we're going to have 100 basis points. Everybody said he's crazy. He's crazy. Now, everybody didn't agree with that. He was the only one, the lone voice out there. What do we have? 100 basis points. This year he said 75. I'm going with him.
You should. That's your experience. And I'm always amazed by people who went to Wharton. I got Bob Knackel, the top broker in New York City, Mr. Trump, and you could name 5 or 10 others. Why is that the best economic school for people's success in business later?
Well,
And it's an MBA program, of course.
At the time I had applied, when I went there, before I went there, I had applied to Harvard and Wharton. I got accepted at both. And Columbia and NYU as well. I had 4 schools I applied to.
All right, stop bragging, Hal.
Well, no, I'm just being factual.
I can't help myself.
So anyway, I thought Wharton was the best fit for me. First of all, it was closer. I was living in Jersey. It was closer.
Okay, makes sense.
And I was engaged at the time, and it was closer to her.
Love it.
So anyway,
You're human.
I'm very, very happy that I did it because it was a great school. But I don't want to get too involved with that because it sounds
Hal.
like self-promotion, and I don't want to do that.
It's not self-promotion. We're giving people an education of what's behind your smarty pantsness.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you're pretty smart yourself, Tom.
Thank you, Hal.
In maybe a different way, but in a very, very genuine way.
Very different.
Yeah. So again, I'm very, very optimistic about the economy, at least for the next 6 months of the year. I think it's going to get better all the time. There's still problems. There's still problems.
Agreed.
There will always have problems.
We will.
We'll never be completely clear. And if we do, and if it's like, oh, we're going up, and that's the only way we're going to go, that's a big mistake.
Well, in your notes, I wrote something again this morning about what you're talking about. When times are good, you think it will last forever. When they're bad, you think they're never going to get better.
That's right. When they're bad, they don't really last as long as good times.
Hopefully.
If you have a recession that lasts for maybe 6 months, a year, or whatever it might be, it's not a big time. When you have a growth in the economy, it's going to last for a couple of years, okay? Usually, okay? I'm not talking about now or
Right.
any
Just in
time
general,
the future.
your general book of knowledge.
Yeah. So anyway, as far as interest rates are going to go down, the tariff effect has been positive so far. And unless you have more to say about the subject, let's move on to sectors, okay? Okay. How about office and medical? Office and medical are pretty much the same thing because medical resides in offices and that sort of
True.
thing.
Well, I'll be like you, Hal. That reminds me of a little story.
Okay,
I
good.
was really convinced that the office market was dead as a doornail, and I went to an SIOR regional, Society of Industrial and Office Realtors regional conference in Jersey City, across from New York,
That's
right on
where
the
I was
water.
born.
Oh, what a rockin' economic development story that city is, with the light rail and all.
Yeah.
And there was a panel on office, and I said, oh boy, I think I could skip that. But I didn't because I liked the people on the panel were impressive, and the host was an SIO, Ken Salzman, great. And I went to that, and it gave me a whole new idea of office in that there's a section of office that's doing really good. People are going back to work or they're going to be fired, not in every case. Medical's booming, MOD, medical office buildings, booming. And a lot of these office developers, if they have the parking, they're learning to make the conversion to medical and office. And to me, if you know what you're doing and you look correctly, there's good segments of the office market. 2
or 3 years ago, everybody was calling for its doom.
You're right.
Right after the pandemic. And there was, in fact, it was CCIM or SIOR, they had a conference and they were saying, hey, it's not good, it's not good. And I got a little PO'd, and I wrote an article about the subject. And then I did a podcast afterwards.
Before I forget, how do people get your articles? Because they're worth reading.
Well, we distribute them as much as we can. I mean, they either see them in the newspaper, and we do have a distribution process. But
they can call you at your office, Scalzo.
Well, whatever.
Scalzo commercial. No, your stuff is worth reading. You're a very thoughtful man.
And anyway, I wrote an article saying, hey, listen, there's too many reasons why office is necessary. Yeah, there are ABC levels of office.
Yes.
A class, A, B, and C.
From the best
B
to
and
the worst.
C are older offices, okay? They're on the way down, okay? So if you have a problem, you're going to clean out some of them. You're going to convert them to something else, perhaps. But Class A has still been strong even during the worst times.
New York City, front page of the Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago, booming with high Class A quality.
That is the biggest and best market in the country right now for office.
It is.
Okay, and so things change. I had predicted at that time. This is going back maybe 3 years, 2 years, 2.5 years ago, that in 4 years you won't be talking about office anymore in the sense that it's having problems. It's going to be fine. You're going to have a lot of new construction. Most of it will be Class A. You're going to get rid of some of the old stuff, the B and C category, and it's just going to be fine. Now, it might not be as big as it was before. It might be smaller. But there's so many reasons to have offices, Tom.
There are. We're in one now.
I mean, people were working at home. Who the heck is following whether they're doing anything or not?
Well,
right?
apparently, my sister-in-law works at home and has a big job, but now she's only working at home 1 or 2 days a week. But they have a computer program that they're keeping an eye on you. So there is something, and that's another show, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. But again, the people who are new to the business, who need mentoring, the people who want to be seen so that they can advance themselves, move up. I mean, there's just so many reasons. I mean, that's only 2 of maybe 5 or 10 reasons that office is a congregation place. It's helped in creativity, all kinds of things. Okay?
Well, if you want to go to the doctor, you're going to go to an office building.
That's right, right.
And they're all going from little practices. The hospitals are buying up all the doctors, and they're putting them in one big giant building, so it's one shopping. And then you love retail, and we both talked about how we always went to the International Council of Shopping Center meetings all over the country. Medical's the new retail. They want to be on Main and Main, and they want big signs, and they want one-stop
everything
medical.
changes. Everything changes.
That's true.
Retail, a shopping center would never have medical offices in them. Okay.
And now
it's part and parcel.
easy parking.
Yeah.
Easy to get to.
Right.
So what's your next topic? So I know I don't want to.
Industrial.
Okay,
This
go.
is something you should enjoy.
Yes.
Industrial for the last couple of years has been very strong.
Booming.
Yeah. And it's been strong a lot because of warehousing. You know, the warehousing on a regional level, going back to, big warehouses on a higher level. And as they come closer and closer to the market, they become smaller but manageable.
Yeah, last mile delivery.
Last mile, yeah. And so that area has been very, very strong. It shows a little bit signs of slowing down, but not much. And I think sometimes when things slow down, they slow down for a bit and then pick up again. And
That's true.
That
and
might happen.
Waterbury's just had the erection party, show off for the media, Amazon in Waterbury, and it was a kind of a cooperation between Waterbury owned the land and Naugatuck Industrial Park had the way in, and they made a deal together, the 2 mayors, Mayor O'Leary, Mayor Pernaruski kept on it, and Mayor Pete Hess of Naugatuck, and we've got a 6-story, million-square-foot warehouse going up, and it's going to make 1,000 jobs. And it's amazing, they put it on the top of a mountain, but it's right on the side of the highway. And I bring that up for your example of warehouse being a hot segment and last mile delivery all over the place.
And not that the manufacturing part is dead. It's smart manufacturing is very much alive in terms of building.
And clean. For kids to go to work today, it's a different world.
Yeah.
The shops are clean, air
and
conditioned.
actually, if you have a business that requires a number of people to work in, it's a lot cheaper to build an industrial building than it is to build an office building.
True.
Okay?
True.
So if you don't have to have the glamour of the office building, you can get a lot done within the framework of that building,
We're seeing all kinds of users build more simple buildings today, especially in the 2nd and 3rd tier markets.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next topic? Or did we?
No, that's fine. Retail. Retail is
It's
near
back.
and dear to my heart because I've been involved with it all my life.
I think it's back in most ways.
For years, it was very, very strong. Okay, going back 5-10 years ago, maybe.
Then it went like this.
If you got a listing for a shopping center to sell, boom, it's gone.
Multiple
it was
offers.
like money in the bank.
Yep.
Tom,
Still
as
though,
you know.
it's still shopping centers are still hot.
In a way, it had a problem with its own success.
True, I did. It dropped off terribly for
Well, it
10
dropped
years.
off because of competition from online selling.
Yeah, but if you go to ICSC, they say online's only 12, 13% of the business in general.
Right now, it's about 16%.
Okay, thank you.
During the pandemic, it went up to 25% because you didn't want to
couldn't
go
go
in a
up.
retail
Yep.
store. Okay, it dropped down after the pandemic to about the same 15, 16%. All right, it is a very, very good category. But it's just like when I was in the business, when I had my book businesses, I sold them by catalog. And the catalog business at that time was a threat to retail.
True.
Okay?
Yep.
And it was going to take over retail. Well, it didn't take over retail. It supplemented retail, and it actually expanded the retail market. The same thing is happening with this whole question of
Online versus
online
shopping in the
versus
store?
You have your online, which is basically pretty static. It'll grow over time. But what's happening is that the retailer is discovering online. So they're supplementing their retail business with online.
Well,
the online people realize that they have to have exposure. There's a limit to what they can do online. So they have display in retail. And so there's a mixing, it's a morphing of the two categories.
International Council of Shopping Centers, ICSC.org, says you have to be omnipresent today. And then you have other retail companies. I've been doing business on the old Route 66 down in Southington in the Milldale section, Route 322, where the TA truck stop is at the corner of I-84 and Route I-691. And that's a prime example of service retail booming altogether because you're not going to do as much on the internet for service retail. And if you go up and down that street, it starts with Home Depot, gas stations, truck stops, fast food, and gun dealers. You're probably not going to buy a lot of guns over the internet if you want to go in and look at them. So the service retail is something that is a way to defend against the online sales.
Yeah, well, the service, and retailing used to be in shopping centers. It was almost completely retail.
Yep.
Services they had their own building or whatever.
Right.
Now they're incorporating, just like medical is incorporating into the
service retail too. You'll see the little emergency rooms. What do you call those? Where they're on a pad now. You can go get get a checkup. You scraped your knee on the weekend. You can't get in the emergency room. All those little providers in medical.
Yeah.
I'm having a brain fade at this moment.
Well, I had one just a minute ago myself. So, you get to the point where you're sort of like,
yeah, it's a little
wearing down
doctor's office. You can go anytime,
Yeah,
and they're on pads in front of shopping centers.
Yeah. So anyway, I have a great feeling that retail is back.
Although, how about the malls? They're having trouble.
Oh, the malls are a different story.
They are.
Malls, Crystal Mall.
That's the one I was going to bring up.
They were just bought by Yale, I think.
No, EB, Electric Boat.
Electric Boat.
The
that's
Crystal
right.
Mall
Yeah.
on the Norwich, New London
that's
line.
right. Yeah.
What a story.
So anyway, that's been in trouble for years.
It has.
All right. There are others that have been in trouble. But then you take Danbury Fair Mall.
Tell us about
and
it.
you take West Farm.
Yep.
And you take the new one down in Norwalk.
Oh, that's a good one. Did you go to our Fairfield County Brokers Network meeting there?
No, I didn't. I missed that
Wow,
one.
they had a big presentation hall that they can use for people to have parties at the mall.
Yeah.
And our president is Win Baum, and it's the
I know Win.
the Fairfield
Way
County.
back.
I'm just telling the audience, Fairfield County Commercial Brokers Network, and that was a cool meeting. Nice way to use the mall, and all built on top of each other in a giant, biggest parking garage I was ever in.
Yeah. So the mall business is differentiated in that respect. If you have a good mall in a good marketplace,
Boom time.
it's boom. It's Danbury Fair Mall. They took a hit. All malls took a hit during the pandemic. They're back.
But Danbury's a great location, and you get New
I
York
know.
too.
That's why I'm saying location is important too.
Well, I'm a guest down here today, so because I'm Waterbury, and our mall is suffering.
Yeah, well, of course, the outdoor part of the mall is doing very well.
Well, then that's changed tenants a bunch of times too. But as you were saying early, things come, things go, and as people in the commercial real estate business, we're looking for the trends. We're trying to look ahead. We're networking with each other. Hal and I meet every month at the Commercial Brokers Club of Western Connecticut, and so that we can all share, cooperate, learn, and maybe trade our listings and get some things sold.
But that's what's interesting about this business.
You're
the
right.
fact that you can exchange ideas. It's nothing boring about
Never.
commercial real estate. Nothing boring. That's why I was drawn to it. In my previous corporate existence, I had some retail and office responsibilities. We had to have our own facilities,
Yes.
and then we had to have a place to sell them.
So you were in real estate that way.
And so I was in real estate that way, and I always enjoyed that part of it more than anything else. So I figured at that point when I was making a decision when I was mid-50s, I said, geez, I'd like to go into real estate. That'd be the great way to end my career. Well, I didn't expect to spend so much time into it, but it's hard
you
to get
like
rid
it. You've been successful at it. It's a lot of times it can be a complicated process, and I guess I would say to the audience, pick people that have designations. Hal has an MBA. I have CCIM and SIOR. Pick people that have been in the business for a long time and know their stuff.
By the way, I took a couple of CCM courses. They were fantastic courses. As good as any I've ever taken in my life.
They do call it the PhD of commercial real estate. It's hard to get. It took me 10 years to get it. Jack Lynch, our friend that runs medical in Yale, he got it in 10 or 12 months, but he had the time to chase it. I had kids, and I'd go back to Waterbury and sell user buildings after they taught us all how to figure out the cash flow of apartment buildings and how to compare alternative investments. Should you go in real estate? Should you go in stocks and bonds? Should you go in oil and gas? Which I know you could answer those questions in probably 10 minutes.
Well, and anyway, I think we should move on to retail.
We should.
There were a couple of other topics I wanted to cover. How are we doing the time?
We got 10 minutes.
We got 10 minutes.
I do anyway.
All right. We talked about multifamily, the development and permitting.
Ooh.
That's a tough subject.
169 towns in Connecticut.
There's a big fight statewide about, right now, the only way that, in some markets, the only way that you can get to build anything is through the approval process, and there's a lot of resistance to residential. And the reason that there's resistance to residential is that the towns or cities have to educate people. They have to educate kids. The biggest expense that a town or city has is education. Biggest expense.
I think Waterbury's is $300 million a year.
So the normal politician says, my God, if I add more residential, my budget is going to have to go up, and I'm going to have a lot of resistance from my constituents.
Waterbury's a third-tier city, and I know I don't want to try not to talk over each other. $300 million a year in Waterbury for the school budget.
Well, it costs $12,000 to $15,000, somewhere in that vicinity, to educate one child.
Yep.
Okay, and if you have an influx of new children because you have an influx of new building in residential, that proves a problem with the administration.
So what Hal's saying is they don't want kids in the schools, so they make all the houses that they can build over 55.
Well, that's one way. There's two ways that we can, as the builder developers, there's two ways we can beat the system. Okay, one is to do that thing where
8-30G.
8-30G, which is a state
mandated program.
It's a state statute.
Yep.
And basically, if you want to build, let's say, 100 units of something, you can do so if you take 30% of those units and make them affordable.
Affordable.
Yeah, affordable. And that basically is built into the actual system, so that you can't change that at a later date.
Unless you don't have city sewers. Hal's getting an important phone call on line 37.
I should have.
Hal Kurfehs
I
here.
should have turned this thing off.
Oh, we all have our phones. I've got mine right
Oh,
here.
boy.
I silenced mine a little while ago because I've been on a lot of podcasts, and it's an absolute pleasure to be on a podcast with Hal Kurfehs from Scalzo Realty, and we want to thank Justin in the corner for taping us.
Well, we have a few minutes left, and I like to talk. You like to talk, so let's continue. Where were we?
We're on the permit process 8-30G.
Oh yeah. So the problem is that there's a lot of people that don't like this. There's a lot of residents that don't like any growth. Because
Affordable is a
they
bad
have
word.
their house. They don't want an apartment building built next door. They don't want land that they used to walk their dog.
True.
Be situated with houses. Okay. There's many different reasons, but it's protecting your turf. Okay. And they come to meetings. They make a big scene.
But that's their right. That's their right.
But the people who are behind the desk, and I was up behind the desk for quite a few years.
On the board.
And we listen to this and we say, geez, I'm a neighbor too. They're going to beat the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Not physically.
No, but I understand. They get heated up.
Yeah, they can heat it up, and you start to say, maybe I should vote against this, okay? Now, it wasn't my feeling because I was in the development business back then too, but I could see my fellow commissioners, having a problem with that. So they call them NIMBYs, not my backyard,
Yep.
okay? And it's becoming more and more of a problem. There are certain towns around here that they can't get anything passed in terms of residential.
Well, our CBA meeting, we had a fellow come in from one of your towns out here, a zoning fellow, and the audience found it very interesting to talk to him, and he kind of was stuck between trying to work with the brokers and have economic development, but also trying to work with the politicians that wanted no development. Mm-hmm. So, you're spot on with that. I'm not going to say the town, but you were there both times.
Yeah, probably. I've been to a lot of meetings.
Yes. No, this was our CBA meeting, and the economic development people come to see the brokers to get business, but yet this fellow also had to work in City Hall that didn't want the developments. It's a fine line.
Yeah, and basically you don't have very many tools to overstep that line.
This is true, but everybody, Waterbury at least streamlined their process, and a lot of developers and people that want to build buildings, even users and factory people, would like they'd like administrative approvals.
You made the point about restricted age. Okay.
Yep, over 55.
If you're doing a development, for instance, and you want to have a better chance of success in terms of getting approved, then you say, okay, we're going to restrict the age to over 50, 55, whatever it might be.
Yeah, 55 at the present time.
Yeah. But so those households that have the principal over 55, they are not going to have a lot of kids around. Maybe the kids are grown.
Yep.
So that's one way to say to a town, hey, don't worry about this.
Right, but a lot of people that are buying those, they can't really leave them to their kids unless their kids are over 55. So there is some resistance there. But the good thing in that business is most of those people who buy those houses pay cash.
Yeah, and then there's a whole problem of you have a developer who wants to build hundreds of units, and they don't want to build hundreds of restricted age.
Well, Waterbury will give a tax break to people who will build 55, but I don't know. It hasn't gone real well yet.
Yeah, well, yeah, builders like to have as big a market as they can. If you go over 55,
it could be shrinking, but we're an aging population. Okay, we only got 3 minutes left. What's hot on your table?
How about AI?
Important, still growing. It's going to eat power galore on the radio over here. I heard Glenn Beck saying that there's two ways. There's the people that want a green economy on one side and the people that want to build all this AI and build their own power plants. And quickly he was saying, if you're for green energy, you better go to your legislators right now and make laws that if they're going to put these power fields in, you got to keep the energy in your own state. It's crazy, but it is also talked about at every real estate meeting for doing work and marketing.
Yeah, I haven't used much of it. For instance, helping with writing.
Yep. You don't need it.
I don't need it.
Right.
So it's good. There's no question about it. It has possibility of problems in terms of people misusing it. And it uses a tremendous amount of electricity. Tremendous.
we have not built power plants in this country, and these big guys that Trump is bringing in from overseas to build these big factories, they're saying on the radio this morning that it's going to be all build their own nuclear power plants and what they need to run their shop. We only have a minute.
That's the only way you can do it. You have to do nuclear.
Right,
That's
so
no
I got to
question.
go. So why don't you tell the audience who you are? I'll tell them who I am, and we'll be back someday soon.
Well, I think they know by now
Go
who
ahead,
we
Hal.
are. But anyway, I'm going to tell the audience, thank you for listening to Tom Hill and I to chat. I hope it's been as interesting to you as it is or has been to us. Thank you again.